We begin our report with a 2-minute warning. CBS News has determined that's how much time lapsed between the first warnings about a man with a gun at Donald Trump's rally and the use of that gun. The analysis was based on video. We've also learned there were snipers from a local tactical team stationed inside the building that would become infamous, just 400 feet from the former president. The team was looking out of its windows towards the rally. If they had looked up at the roof of that same building, they would have seen the shooter. At least one of those officers did see the shooter before he got on the roof, but by the time they were able to call for backup, 20-year-old Thomas Crooks had already gotten into position, fired his gun, and was killed by Secret Service. One person at the rally was killed and 3 others were hurt, including Trump, who was grazed by a bullet on his right ear. That's what accounted for the bandage he wore Monday night at the kickoff of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, where earlier in the day he had become the first Republican ever to be nominated 3 consecutive times. Ohio Senator J.D. Vance was announced as his running mate, the first ever Marine combat veteran on a presidential ticket for a majority party. And for the first time in its 121-year history, the president of the Teamsters Union spoke at the Republican convention.
Under our current system, massive companies like Amazon, Uber, Lyft, and Walmart take zero responsibilities for the workers they employ. These companies offer no real health insurance, no retirement benefits, no paid leave, relying on underfunded public assistance. And who foots the bill? The individual taxpayer. The biggest recipients of welfare in this country are corporations, and this is real corruption. We must put workers first.
We'll talk more about the campaign in a moment, but first let's bring in Charlie DeMar and Nicole Sganga for more on the shooting investigation. Charlie is a CBS News correspondent, and Nicole is CBS News Homeland Security and Justice reporter. Charlie, what's the latest that we know on the gunman's activity leading up to the shooting?
And that is a big piece of it, John. Investigators are trying to determine the shooter's movements leading up to the shooting in the hopes of getting to a motive. We know that the shooter spent time at a local gun range in the days before the shooting, purchased about 50 rounds of ammo in the morning before the rally here. And we also have learned today that the shooter went to a local hardware store where he purchased a ladder. Now, it's unclear if that ladder was used in the attack to get himself up on that roof. That part is still unknown. But the FBI says that they have concluded its investigation, its search of the shooter's home, the shooter's car. They did recover the cell phone. They've been able to crack that cell phone and get in, but sources also telling CBS News at this point they have not been able to extract any information that would lead them to any of the ideologies of the shooter or a potential motive at this point.
Nicole, we're learning more about the snipers who were stationed at Saturday's rally, including that information about this being in the same building. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, John, I want to break down the sniper teams here for our viewers. CBS News first reported that the U.S. Secret Service counter-sniper team, that 2-man team of a shooter and a spotter that neutralized the gunman, they were positioned over President Trump's left shoulder on a building behind him. The counter-sniper shooter fired 1 round, killing the gunman. Now, in addition to that team, there were multiple snipers from local tactical teams deployed to help secure that event outside the U.S. Secret Service perimeter. They were standing at the windows of the building the gunman ultimately scaled. Before the gunman scaled the building, a sniper from that local tactical team took a picture of him, identifying him as a suspicious person, alerting the command post. And CBS News has also learned that the sniper also saw the gunman looking through a rangefinder minutes before he tried to assassinate the former president. That triggered a call for backup. John, that tool is an instrument routinely used by marksmen to determine the distance of a target.
Wow. And tell us about the snipers that were positioned inside the building. Is that a normal part of the procedure? And why were they inside and not outside?
Yeah, I have talked to multiple former Secret Service agents that were surprised by this, but CBS News has learned that was part of the operational plan. Just yesterday, the Secret Service director said the reason those snipers were not on the roof of the building, was too sloped to position law enforcement. John, what remains unclear, how big was the footprint of local law enforcement tasked with securing that building the gunman scaled? And really, how long should it have taken for backup to arrive when that alert first came out? How long did it take?
And the Secret Service Director, Kimberly Cheadle, spoke to ABC News. What was her response to some of these questions, and what's kind of the key questions she's going to have to answer as this, she prepares to testify and come up with answers for these independent investigations?
Yeah, John, Director Cheadle told ABC that the shooting was unacceptable, that it should have never happened. There are a lot of questions here, some of them specific, like why wasn't the building the gunman scaled within the U.S. Secret Service perimeter? What's the TikTok here? More specifically, what was the communication breakdown between local law enforcement and the Secret Service? But we have a few big events on the horizon that Secret Service is tasked with protecting: the inauguration, the World Cup, the LA Olympics. So a big question, is the Secret Service equipped for the road ahead, and can they be trusted to fulfill their mission? Most importantly here, what needs to change?
Indeed. Charlie, what can you tell us about this independent review of the assassination attempt that's been ordered by President Biden?
The Secret Service mission is simple. They have a no-fail mission when it comes to protecting national leaders. So that question will be at the heart of this investigation. President Biden says that this investigation will be independent. Those results will be made public. But you did reference that ABC interview with Director Cheadle. She was asked about the accountability. Who is responsible? She said ultimately that the buck stops with her. That will be a central point in the hearing next week, John.
Charlie DeMar and Nicole Sganga, thank you both very much.